presentations with conditional use number 2293, Ronald and Candace Gray.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, CZ 1946 is an ordinance to amend the comprehensive zoning map of Sussex County from an AR1 agricultural residential district to a B2 business community district for a certain parcel of land lying and being in Baltimore 100, Sussex County, containing 1.564 acres more or less. The property is lying on the west side of Roxana Road, which is Route 17, approximately 0.69 miles northeast of the intersection of Roxana Road and Daisy Road, which is Sussex County Route 370. The 911 address is not available, and the tax parcel ID is District 134, Map 15, Parcel 20.12, and application CU 2293 is an ordinance to grant a conditional use of land in an AR1 agricultural residential district for 703 storage units and outdoor storage for boats and RVs to be located on a certain parcel of land lying and being in Baltimore 100, Sussex County, containing 8.424 acres more or less. The property is also lying on the west side of Roxana Road, which is Route 17, approximately 0.68 mile northeast of the intersection of Roxana Road and Daisy Road, which is Sussex County Route 370. The 911 address is not available, and the tax parcel ID is District 134, Map 15, Parcel 20.06. Submitted into the record for both applications, Mr. Chairman, we have a copy of the applicant's conceptual site plans, a copy of the plus comments that have been received and the applicant's response to the plus comments. We have a copy of the DELDOT service level evaluation response. We have a copy of letters received from the Sussex County Engineering Department Utility Planning Division, and I would note we have received no comments. Thank you.
All right, we thank you. Chair recognizes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Shannon Carmine Burton. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Sergovic, Carmine, Weidman, McCartney, and Owens. I represent the applicants Ronald and Candace Gray. There are two applications being presented to you this evening. The first is an ordinance to amend the comprehensive zoning map of Sussex County from an AR1 agricultural residential district to B2 business community district. The other is a conditional use of land in an AR1 district for purposes of constructing 703 storage units with outdoor storage for boats, boat trailers, and RVs. Also in attendance on behalf of this application are Tim Metzner, Associate and Senior Landscape Architect with Davis, Bowen, and Friedel. Of course, the applicant, Ron Gray, and Ed Launay, Senior Professional Wetland Scientist, number 875 of Environmental Resources, Inc. In support of both of these requests, we have submitted exhibit booklets for review and consideration. The exhibit booklet for the conditional use does include proposed findings of fact and conditions. Both properties are located on Roxana Road, approximately 0.45 miles south of the intersection of Pepper's Corner Road, Powell Farm Road, and Roxana Road. The property for which we're seeking the change of zone contains approximately 1.56 acres of land. The property for the conditional use consists of approximately 8.424 acres of land. Both properties are currently zoned AR1. The property that's the subject of the change of zone application has been a vacant lot since it was purchased by the applicants in 2018. The property, the 8.424 acres, that has been historically used for farming purposes. The applicants have submitted both of these requests basically for the same purpose, and that's in order to make better economic use of the property and also to provide needed services and employment opportunities in this area. The conditional use will enable the applicants to meet the storage needs. This area is rapidly growing. We have people, as a real estate attorney, I meet with people every day moving into this area. A lot of them are downsizing, but don't want to get rid of their possessions. So there's definitely a need in this area for additional storage space. And it's the storage space that we're seeking, or the storage use that we're seeking for the 8.424 acres. The applicants do not, as far as the 1.56 acres is concerned, the applicants intend to develop the property for office use. We do have a proposed site plan to present this evening, just to give you an idea as to what the intent of the applicant is as far as the future use of the property. But the applicant doesn't have any intent to develop the property until central sewer is available. Just wanted to make sure that they're in a position to develop the property once that is available, recognizing the current need and, of course, the future need. At this point, I would like to introduce Tim Metzner, Associate and Senior Landscape Architect, Davis Bowen and Friedel, who will present the site plan, discuss soils and drainage, state investment levels 2 and 3 reclassification, as well as sewer and water availability.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for your time this evening. The site plan as proposed in our booklet, we have 2 separate booklets, so just have to bear with us on this. For the conditional use site plan for the 8.42 acre site. As stated, we're proposing 94,800 square feet of enclosed storage space located in 14 buildings containing 703 storage units. The site plan is...
Yep. That one.
Okay.
Yep.
So as shown on the conditional use, I'll explain this one first. The site is surrounded by roadways. Route 17, also known as Roxana Road, is to the east, or which is to the right of the site. Along the southern side is a driveway utilized for egress access to the residential homes to the west. On the south side of that, Horseplay Way is a commercial use along with residential, and then to the north is another residential piece. On the west side, there's a tax ditch that borders our property. Along the north side, there's an existing ag ditch that also borders, along with existing vegetation and screening from the property to the north. As proposed in our conditional use plan for the storage units, no vegetation is being proposed to be removed. So all that screening to the north is to remain. Stormwater, as we're proposing, is to the south side along the property line and will tie into the existing tax ditch to the west. The site entrance and exit is located off of Route 17. In tab K of the booklet, DelDOT provided a letter of service or service level evaluation, and based on there, and this actually goes with both applications, both the C or the change of zone and the conditional use. Total is less than generate fewer than 50 trips in any hour and fewer than 500 vehicles per day, or trips per day. And then goes on to state, because of the proposed land use would not meet these warrants, we consider the developments, we meaning DelDOT, would not consider the development's traffic impact study, we consider the traffic development impact study to be negligible in the context of our agreement with the county regarding land use development coordination, and do not recommend the applicant be required to perform a TIS for the subject property. Next, Ed Launay will also speak a little more detail about the soils, but I just want to kind of go into that just briefly. That this site is classified as A, B, and AD soils. per the NRCS. Soils mapping, meaning A and Bs are your better soils. ADs means they could be either well drained or poorly drained. So want to note that during the engineering process, we would obviously be required to provide positive drainage and stormwater management for this site, therefore bringing the site into compliance with the A soils. When we presented this project a few years ago to this body, the site was classified as a level, or classified in the state of Delaware as level 4 on the state strategies and policies and spending map. Since then, the state has revised that level for the site to levels 2 and 3, which does support future growth. And as stated in their letter in the plus comments, they have no objection to the development of this property. In tab C, we have the water service territory. As you can see, to the north of our site, approximately 4,250 feet, is the nearest water connection for central water. It's important because the conditional use project does not require central water or sewer service. We are proposing the layout to not require sprinklers, as the layout meets the fire code, and it has and it's also stated in the plus comments that we would be required to meet all fire regulations. Also on tab D, we have the sewer service area. That again is to the north, approximately 4,250 feet, and as you can see, that area right there is growing, continually come south. That's the location of the BB medical facility, and then also some apartment complexes that will be starting under construction in the near future. And at that point, well, let me go over to briefly touch on the change zone. So this, we stated, and we also acknowledged that this is for a change of zone and not for a site plan approval. We acknowledge that. However, the applicant owner has full intention. This is now the second time you guys have seen the same site plan, site layout, as they have done this on another site, the same configuration of the office with the storage units, and Mr. Gray will get into a little more detail of that, but full intention of this is what they want to do with this property, with this change of zone. So,
Thank you, Tim. At this point, I'd like to introduce Mr. Gray, and he will discuss the need for this use, both office use and the storage use in this area, as well as address the prior opposition to the application.
Thank you. My name is Ron Gray, or Ronald E. Gray. I've owned the property since 2018, and I live 37176 Sunset Cove in Selbyville, Delaware. Hello, everybody. I think I know everybody here, but thank you for making time for us this evening. So I'm going to try to combine these. This is the second time I brought this project to planning and zoning. I initially proposed a complete rezoning of a single 10-acre parcel, but with the same proposed usage as I am now proposing in two portions, a 1.5 acre and 8.5 acre. There were several concerns raised at County Council. There was none here, really, except I have one, really. There were several concerns raised at County Council hearing that caused me to want to pull the complete rezoning request and take the current approach. The conditional use of the storage parcel assures everyone that that portion of the property will only be used for storage. There's become an increased demand for storage units throughout our area, from Fenwick Island to Millsboro. In the last 2 years, it was already very busy, but starting the middle of 2020, the whole storage industry just kind of blew up in our area. I don't know if you've heard about this. I'm sure you have. We get 2 or 3 calls a day. I have two facilities, one on Route 54, 3 miles inland from Fenwick, and we get 2 or 3 calls a day. And in the storage industry, you pretty much have the storage unit until you decide to move out. And they'll say, well, when's somebody going to move out? It's amazing. People come down here. They call you and they want to move in right that day. They don't plan ahead lots of times. And you say, I don't have anything. So you get them on a waiting list, and then when you try to call them, they've had to go somewhere else after 2 months. So we really need the storage. It's a primary comment here. I called the Millville today and talked with, and yesterday, Debbie Boccia, who's the town manager there. I went over, there's an enormous amount of units right here already, but they're in the planning stages. Millville by the Sea is huge. They have like 2,800 units in the town of Millville, ultimately to be approved in their project. Currently, they have built 541 of 931 approved, so there's additional 391 units that are going to come on board. They're already approved. They're on the process of building. In addition to that, they have 508 units that are potentially to be approved. They're in the planning process. They're going through Millville, and not this board, of course. But you're up to 900 units. Millville has just approved a project called Hudson's Reserve. It's 124 residential units, and it's located at our project is between Pepper's Corner or Powell Farm Road and Daisy Road. But just at Pepper's Corner, right at that, it was the old Hudson property. Yeah, where are we? Is this Powell Farm Road here? And
That's Pepper's Corner.
Rock Center Road. Okay, so right here, 124 units, and then going. I guess I need to get on the mic. Going the rest of the way is all of Millville by the Sea, which we're talking about 900 or 1,000 units in addition to what they already have. There's a parcel in the middle of Millville by the Sea that's 135 units. It's called Egret Shores. It's just been recently approved. There's an apartment complex that is planned down at the hospital. Can we bring up that? I can go right in here. Oh, cool. So where is 17? My eyes are just terrible here. Is this 17 here? So, and it's 26 right here? Yeah, so, right here. Is this the hospital right there? Yeah. So just a little bit down the road, right next door to the hospital, Millville has just approved a 216-unit apartment complex. If you go back down across from Millville by the Sea, you have Bishop's Landing that has over 850 homes. The point is, we needed storage in the beginning, middle of 2020. What happened, seems everybody moved down here middle of 2020, and it just exploded. Imagine that, yeah. But so I'm here not to bring more traffic, but to serve those that are here. Let me continue my presentation. I think I made my point that we have a need for storage here. And the thing is, a lot of these people have moved here from homes that had basements or they had bigger closets. What we seem to be building down here is little to no closets, and there's no basement. And people love to keep their things, and I guess I'm there to help them make sure they can keep them for a little longer. But just really want to serve them. And people downsize too. They're getting rid of things. There was a lot of discussion about the visibility of the storage area from neighboring properties. So I've included a couple pictures that look to the north, which seems to be the family to the north, the Parlor family, really had an issue with the project. Can I bring up that picture somehow here and show you looking north? It would be in the back of the section L of the presentation. There were 4 pictures back there. It's all the way, there's all the way to, just run all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, the first grouping of pictures. Yeah, the first, so go up to the first few, a little bit higher there. Oh, come, yeah, right there. That is, can you twist them? There we go. This is looking north to the Parlor property, and this was taken around April 1st. You can see the Parlor family property in the background. It's a 2-story home. Our buildings will be a little shorter than that, and this is before the vegetation has come out that will really hide it even more, but you really can't see that area to the north. If you come down to the next picture down, what do we have here? That is also, that's another spot there that shows the same family property, and you just, so it's 30 to 40 foot of vegetation there that we're going to leave in place. There's a ag ditch that's there, and so we don't want those folks to see anything on our side. I can't see anything from this side, so I don't think they're going to be able to see anything. So that was one of the real concerns they had. Can we come down to a couple other pictures here? This is looking to the east, which is the road that's described as either Wild Goose Lane or Horseplay Drive. So that goes out. And if you go down one more, I think you'll see this looking across. Those are looking across the street. Across the street, there are homes in the back here that there's no visibility there. And then is there some pictures looking to the, this is really intended for the commercial use, but I'll bring this to you right now. This is what we plan to do with the 2 commercial buildings. This is a 10,000 square foot retail building, or really for office space. We have Edward Jones that's in this building. We have a physical therapist in here. Those are the type businesses I'm looking for. But the 2 buildings we want to put out front here, one would be about 3/4 of that size. The other one would be about half that size. And they would be spread across the whole area of the storage. My point is, you can't see the storage from Route 17, or would not be able to do that when this project is completed. And to the north, the trees are protecting you. And I think we have one looking to the south. That must be on the other one. So we'll bring that up here in a second. Let me complete the information I have on the storage here. I've talked about the area across the street from 17. All lighting on the project will be down lighting and not spill over into adjacent parcels. This was a concern of the of some of those opposed. The facility will be gated and accessible with individual codes assigned to those who have storage units. We've allowed access to our other storage units and facilities beginning at 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night, with exceptions allowed on a case-by-case basis. This has worked out well for our other facilities, and neighbors are very close there down at the refuge, and we have not had any issues with people having problems with the storage there. It's shut down after 10 p.m. There's no noise. We would plan to place cameras around the site and in buildings to ensure the security of all in the area or inside our facility. They would also have fencing around the perimeter for security reasons as well. I've talked to you about the pictures. I think the proposed storage and office buildings would fit well in with other residential and commercial buildings. It's tough to get into places on Route 26 because of all the traffic. Putting this type of commercial use, and I'll go over that here in a second, will make it easier for people to get to and easier for those folks in all the other residential communities to get to storage. Let me just now go over what I had to say about the commercial piece here. It's been proposed as conversion from AR1 to B2. It's anticipated that 2 buildings would be placed on the parcel only after sanitary, sewer, and water are here. I do wish to do these now so that both projects could be approved now, and we can plan for stormwater management, infrastructure, and other utilities right now. So that as we're building it, we know how to set up, and we'll tie the stormwater for both projects. The 2 proposed buildings would house businesses in a more rural setting than found along Route 26, making them easier to access than more congested areas and roadways closer to the beach. The types of businesses that would be interested in space there would be family and specialty doctors' offices to support the nearby BB emergency facility, financial services companies like Edward Jones, a dental office, an eye doctor, physical therapy offices, a hair salon, and other similar service and businesses. It's really there to serve those people that are here. These businesses would be operated during the day and would have limited noise associated with their operation. The parking lot for the buildings would be lighted from dusk to dawn with professionally designed lighting to ensure no carryover lighting to the adjacent parcels. This is a compatible use of the property and as there is commercial countertop business to the west that I want to show you a picture of here in a second, and manufacturing business located on the adjacent property. That's really it, except I'd like to go to the other binder, if that's possible, and show you the pictures there of looking to the west. I think these are looking to the north, which is where the parlor property is. This is looking to the west, which is the commercial facility. It's a countertop business that is back about 400, 500 feet along the 2 roads there, the Wild Goose Lane or Horseplay Drive. And then if you come on down to the next one, okay. That's the commercial business to the west. And then the next one here, if you look there, there's a farmhouse that's back to the west that we would plan to put a vegetative buffer so they wouldn't be able to see. And is there a couple more down here? I want to show the this is looking to the east. We'd already looked at these. That's Route 17. And come on down a little bit more, please. And that's also looking to the east. This is what I wanted to show, that this is the Millsboro facility that we operate, and we put in a fencing there that is decorative. And we'll come on down one more, please. This is the view I showed you earlier, trying to show what this project would look like with the 2 buildings in front. This just has the one, and then the last one down the bottom shows from the right. And we do the best we can to keep a neat and tidy operation. We've been in the storage business since 2008, and both our sites are, the one in 54 is full, and we are in the process of fully, we have 8 buildings under construction in Millsboro now on that project. I thank you for your time, and am I forgetting something that I need to add here?
You can always tell us if you do. If you think of it, raise your hand.
I'll be right here. Okay. Thanks for letting me jump on here. But I think storage is one of the more benign uses for the property. You know, we've always done a lot to make sure neighbors are happy that are around us. And I know the stipulations of time on this from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. has been good. But when you are looking at the stipulations, maybe this is from County Council more, I'd like to have some flexibility. There are some users that want to get in, maybe early morning for fishing if they're storing a boat. The plan on this would be to build the buildings in phases, of course, a few buildings in the front, and then, depending on demand, we would move the buildings back. Once a project is completed, there would be very little RV or boat storage. But the way we typically have done it, we would plan so that we'd have enough to store, 50 or 30 to 50 boats, and then that was stabilized ground and ready to go for the next buildings in the future. Thank you so much for your time today, and hope you'll consider asking for the County Council to approve this project. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. At this point, I'd like to introduce Ed Launay, Senior Professional Wetland Scientist, number 875. He's going to give a very brief summary of his environmental review of the property.
So,
Mr. Launay?
so in your booklet, there's an environmental report.
Excuse me, Dr. Launay, I have to ask you to introduce yourself
Oh,
for the record. Even though your counsel did an excellent job, we need to hear it in your own
All right.
voice.
Well, I'm Ed Launay. I'm a professional wetland scientist, and I'm a partner in Environmental Resources Incorporated, an environmental consultant. And so I did an evaluation on this property. There's a report in the booklet. The site in total is about 10 acres. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was in the back of the site, on the west side of the site, there's the Beaver Dam tax ditch. It's a deeply dug ditch. It has a tax ditch right away. I work with Mr. Gray with the DENREC drainage program, and we had to right away reduce down to 50 feet. And that's measured from the top of the bank. The tax ditch is a perennial stream, and that's the only wetlands or waters on the entire site. The whole site is uplands. And it's probably at the margins of being a perennial stream, and as you know, the current county code and the future county code will have a 50-foot buffer. That will all be contained within the tax ditch right-of-way, since that's measured from the ordinary high water mark of the channel. One of the other topics that came up with respect to, and there is also as was mentioned here, there is a drainage ditch that forms the north side of the site, which is not a tax ditch, but which will be maintained, and that provides drainage of the land into the tax ditch. One of the other things that I did, and then there's a letter up there, is there are no threatened and endangered species associated with the property or habitat suitable for any threatened and endangered species, especially it's, like I said, predominantly agricultural land. The other things that I looked into is, and it was a comment back when this was heard earlier, there was some comments about hydric soils on the site. So, kind of a guidance document for that is the USDA soil survey. And again, that's a guidance document. And based on that document, there's 3 soil types. There was Hamilton soils, which are, an upland soil, and unless drained, and I want to stress unless drained, there's also a berryland and a Herlock soils. And actually, they, as the soil survey has mapped it, which is again a guide, most of the site is shown in those 2 soil types. Based on borings that I did on the site, I found that much more of the site was actually in the Hamilton series soils, and that the hydric type soils were really more removed and located near the tax ditch. And so typically hydric soils do have limitations due to high groundwater. However, we're in agricultural setting here where the tax ditches and the ditch to the north are draining those soils. And there's actually, if you look at an overall aerial photograph, there's extensive ditching throughout the area. And so essentially what we have is these soils have been effectively drained. And the concerns about excessively high water tables or limiting factors in terms of development really don't apply because, again, of the agricultural setting and the fact they've been drained. If you look at the overall soil survey of this entire area, going all the way down to Roxana and probably almost up to the Hocker store on 17, you would find that a lot of these agricultural lands, the predominant soil types are the two hydric soil types that I mentioned. And again, the drainage ditches and the things that exist in the area have effectively drained those soils, and they're, with proper engineering, they're suitably developable. A good example is the hospital and the Catholic Church just south of those sites. Both of those facilities are on similar facilities as this, as is the commercial facility that Mr. Gray references just on the other side of the road. So, that's occupied by a barn and a storage yard, a pretty extensive storage yard for the cabinet business and other operations that are going on there. So, I think the site, from an environmental perspective, I think it's a good use for the site, and the site has good positive drainage and very little and no impact in terms of the trees or other natural habitats. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Launay. With respect to the rezoning application, we're seeking to rezone from AR1 to B2. The purpose of the B2 district is to provide primarily for office, retail, shopping, and personal service uses to serve the needs of a relatively small area, primarily nearby rural, low-density, or medium-density residential neighborhoods. Proposed office uses are permissible uses in the B2 district. Both parcels are located within an area identified in the 2018 Sussex County Comprehensive Plan Update Future Land Use Map as coastal area. The coastal area is a growth area under the comprehensive plan. Table 4.5-2 of the plan specifically lists the B2 district as an applicable zoning district in the coastal area. In addition to residential uses, permitted uses within the coastal area include retail and office use, such as the proposed use for the parcel to be rezoned, with larger shopping centers and office parks confined to selected locations with access along arterial roads such as Roxana Road. Comprehensive plan further provides that appropriate mixed-use development should also be allowed. In doing so, careful mixtures of home with light, commercial, office, and institutional uses can be appropriate to provide for convenient services and to allow people to work close to home. The rezoning of the property will result in such a mixture of light commercial and residential uses in a growth area, which is appropriate in the coastal area. It'll also provide conveniently located office space and also the storage space with respect to the conditional use application to accommodate the needs generated by the Millville by the Sea community, BB Hospital facility, and other uses that are near the property located on Roxana Road. Thus, the rezoning of this land from AR1 to B2 is appropriate and compatible with the goals and directions of the comprehensive plan. With respect to the conditional use application, the proposed conditional use is also appropriate and compatible with the goals of the comprehensive plan, and it is a permitted conditional use under the zoning code. Again, the property is zoned AR1. Conditional uses allowed within the AR1 district include, among other uses, agricultural-related industries, as well as residential, business, commercial, or industrial uses when the purposes of the chapter are more fully met by issuing the conditional use permit. The proposed conditional use, as well as the proposed rezoning, will not have an adverse impact on neighboring properties or the community. Although the surrounding properties are zoned AR1, there are other conditional uses that have been approved within a 1-mile radius of the property, including the neighboring property off of Horseplay Way, which has a conditional use for a cabinet shop and storage. The proposed use and rezoning is also compatible and consistent with other uses along Roxana Road, from Hawkers, the car wash, Bob's Marine Service, the fireplace store, Fishy Business, Millville by the Sea, Christopher Companies, Garth Enterprises, Mercantile Processing, BB Healthcare, South Coastal Emergency Department, Grant Massey Studio, and through to Our Lady Guadalupe Mission Church and Blackwater Fellowship Church. As Mr. Gray had mentioned, although the adjoining property owned by William and Ann Parler, identified by Sussex County tax mapping as parcel 134-1520.07, is used for agricultural and residential purposes, the boundary between the properties contains mature trees, which you could see in the photos that we provided, which will serve as a natural buffer and screening from the proposed use on the property. The applicants are committed to maintaining those trees within their property boundary in order to minimize any potential impact of the proposed uses or the rezoning on the neighboring property. With respect to the conditional use, any security lights or other lighting shall be directed toward the interior of the property and shall be downward illumination so that they don't shine on any neighboring property or the roadways. There shall not be any storage of welding, flammable, explosive, or other inherently dangerous materials. There shall not be any waste committed or allowed to be committed on the property or in any building on the property. The perimeter of the storage area shall be fenced and gated. As Mr. Gray had stated, the proposed hours of operation will be from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. with earlier access allowed on a case-by-case basis as determined by the operator of the facility. The proposed use and rezoning will have no significant impact on traffic. DelDOT did not require a traffic impact study. They said that any impact would be negligible. The property is also located in investment levels 2 and 3 according to the strategies for state policies and spending, and the Office of State Planning has no objection to the development of the property, whether that be the rezoning application or the conditional use, provided, of course, that it meets the codes and criteria of the county, which we submit that it does. Based on the record and this presentation, we respectfully request that the Commission recommend approval of the conditional use, as it's consistent with the comprehensive plan and it meets the purpose of promoting the health, safety, moral, convenience, order, and welfare of the present and future inhabitants of the county. We also request that the Commission recommend approval of the applied for rezoning application from AR1 to B2. And we, of course, are available for any questions that you may have, and thank you for your consideration of both applications.
All right, we thank you.
I have one comment. Could you ensure that we didn't want 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., we want 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
10 p.m. I apologize if I misspoke. Yes, that wouldn't be very many hours. Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Appreciate your presentation. Let's see if anyone on the commission has any questions for you. And we'll start with Ms. Wingate.
Thank you for the presentation. As far as the condition or the change of zone, it makes perfect sense to me, especially with the businesses that you're proposing out there to keep some of the traffic off of 26, hopefully get them on 17. I just had a clarification on the hours of operation. You took care of that. And then I just wanted to verify on the conditional use, there wouldn't be any maintenance on it, the RVs or the boats on site. It's just storage only.
No, we haven't allowed that in the past. I mean, if somebody comes out to clean it, it's been very limited. Yeah, so
like
no.
no oil changing?
No, you don't. You
Things
can't.
like that. I'm familiar with their property on 54, and I know you do a very good job keeping things well maintained.
One of the things on our storage is there's lighting, but there's no electrical outlets really available, so that discourages any kind of maintenance.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hoy Stevenson.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Hopper.
No questions?
Okay, Counselor.
No questions, thanks.
Sir.
Thank you.
All right then, if you'll take a seat nearby, we'll see if there's anyone here that has an interest in your application. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of conditional use number 1946 or, change of zone number 1946 and conditional use number 2293, Ronald and Candace Gray? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to change of zone number 1946 or conditional use 2293? Operator, is there anyone standing by who would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition to change of zone number 1946 or conditional use number 2293?
At this time, there's currently no one on the line.